Hi, guys. Um, I just wanted to come on briefly. I got asked a really important question, and I also was really thinking about this, part of this whole self loving journey. And the question that I was asked is, how do you know when someone really loves you? Like, how do you know, right? And I thought about that, and they prove it to themselves, they prove it to you. They sit here. When someone really loves you, you can see it in their eyes. You can see it in the way that they speak to you and the way that they place you first and the way that they're worried about your needs. And you see it in a lot of different things, a lot of different ways that they prove it. They want to be there for you. They don't talk badly about you. They place you first. They're not going to have other third parties. Like, no, they've got to go. It's not acceptable. You're their number one priority. And so when you're their number one priority, it's shown in every physical way, shape, and form. Do you understand that? Now, here's the thing. Many of us are doing this self-love work. Many of us really feel it, and yet we compromise. We compromise. So you may not like what I have to say, but I'm going to be real honest. Okay? When you love yourself to the degree that is required, what occurs naturally is that they love you. It's an automatic thing. It's an automatic thing. It's interesting because men have the tendency to love themselves a lot more than women do. I'm not saying all. I'm not saying all. But a good majority of them know exactly what they want, know exactly how they're going to behave, and then they know what's acceptable and not acceptable, so they draw those boundaries real easy. But women don't tend to do that. We compromise. We put up with less. You can't be doing all of this work and then compromise for a guy that puts you second. If he's got somebody else on the side, you are not first. That's not loving yourself. I'm not trying to insult anyone here. That's not loving yourself. Not unless you want to be in a polyamorous relationship. And if that's your choice, hey, whatever floats your boat. Most people, that's not what they want. Not even close. Secondly, many of you are trying really hard to manifest an SP, right? You want someone very specific? That's cool. No problem. Even though it is an aspect of yourself, a reflection of yourself, even though it is always you, and there's no division in divine mind. So let me mention something here that I think will help you guys. Neediness, any type of desperation at all whatsoever is a turnoff. A huge turnoff. If we are in any way depending on someone to complete us, to make us happy, we cannot be happy because they're not in our lives. That whole desperate thing where we somehow have this illusion that this guy completes us, this woman completes us, and until we have that, we can't be whole. That's where we're going wrong. The person that loves you is going to encourage you to complete yourself if you don't feel this. It's going to encourage you to really work on yourself. is going to applaud you and tell you how proud he or she is of you, but should not ever carry the burden of making you happy. That's not fair. That's not fair. Many of you are wondering, why is this taking so long? Well, because your obsessive thoughts about how much and how badly you need them is repelling people, instead of drawing them closer. It's annoying. It's an annoying energy. Many of you are familiar with this. When someone calls you every 2 seconds and begs you to be with them and and wants to be with you all the time, and you can't even breathe anymore. If you've never experienced it, it happens a lot to me. I don't like it. It's a suffocating thing, and I quite literally feel like I'm choking because my light's being blocked. My light needs to pour out, not be stifled. A lot of the times, the biggest turnoff I've ever had is someone who instantly sucks in like a leech. I want to give you this image because I really want you to understand how repelling it is. Okay? Instantly sucks in like a leech. And I can't breathe. And they're professing love, and I don't even know them. That's a stalker vibe. And many women, they're so desperate for connection that they're not giving themselves, that's what they do to other gentlemen. And then they don't understand why the guy has lost interest. It has nothing to do with how soon before you slept with them or any of that stuff. It has nothing to do with that. But it has everything to do with needing someone to complete you. It has everything to do with desperation and need, and this whole I cannot be happy unless they're there. Oh my God, please. That is a very repelling force, you guys. An extremely repelling force. I've stopped talking to people for less because I recognize the stalker vibe and I'm instantly like, oh! I don't like it. It's not a good feeling at all. Many of the times what we're not realizing is that's what's required of us, is to really understand that that desperation and that burden is not meant for other people to hold. Ever. People will add to your joy. They add. They do not detract from it. And in order for us to do this, we're doing this mirror work, we're doing this connection to our heart, we're constantly making sure that we're really going to connect. In order to do that, we must also be willing to walk our talk. So to make exceptions for bad behavior isn't walking our talk. To accept someone treating you as less, that's not walking our talk. And what we do, and what I really want to make clear, many of you don't understand. How do I keep attracting these narcissists? How come I've got the shit end of the deal? How did I get here? What happened? What happened, my dear, my loves, is that you stop paying attention to yourself, you place someone else on a pedestal, and then you created this deficit, this shadow, and this shadow ended up growing and taking a life of its own, and then it stopped caring because it mirrored you. And so as the shadow grew, the shadow became this monstrous thing in your life. Not a healthy thing in your life, a monstrous thing in your life. So what does that look like? It looks like someone that is constantly berating you. It looks like someone that isolates you because they enjoy feeding off your energy. It looks like someone who enjoys putting you down because they know you will still be there at the end. They enjoy this kind of power. It's because we've placed the power out there, not in here. Someone who really, really masters their self-love, who really gets it, is able to love without fear, is able to receive good relationships because they have begun with the source inside, and then it's automatically produced outside in a really good way. We're not afraid to communicate. How many of you stifle what you're feeling because you're afraid this guy's gonna walk out or this girl's gonna walk out, so you don't speak up? That fear is not love. Ever. The obsession where you allow because someone is not in your life so you're fully depressed, that's not love either. When you're constantly crying in your Cheerios at 3 o'clock in the morning, that's not love. When you have allowed for things where people are unkind to you, that's not love. We must become what we're looking for. It's the most important part of the journey. It's the most important part. Now, many of you, when you spend your days and nights obsessing over something, that's a needy vibe. It's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Many of you are told you've been working on this for a while or whatever, and you're tired and you don't feel like it's going to happen anymore. Okay. That's your time to drop the desire. Drop it. Go have fun. Go do you. What do you like to do? Go do it. Sitting around moping and waiting for someone will repel anyone. I don't care who says it doesn't. They're lying. It does. Because we're expecting for them to complete us. And that's a burden nobody deserves ever. Nobody should have that burden on themselves. A lot of times harmonious relationships are happening because we do not place that burden on anyone else. We heal ourselves. It automatically heals the reflection outside. Automatically. You'd be surprised if you really, really made a concerted effort to focus on yourself, how quickly everything changes around you. You realize that what we're working on is taking the splinter out of our eye. Taking responsibility for the universe that we are seeing with these. But we have to remove the splinter. So what is that splinter? The splinter is how we grew up. The splinter is any wounds that we carried from other relationships. We cannot ever bleed on people that didn't cut us. It's a turnoff. And what do I mean by that? I mean that when you guys, okay, When you guys have been through a traumatic relationship, you step into the new relationship fearing what happened in the past. So now what you've done is you've carried your past wounds into a new relationship, and when you are trying to have a new relationship, your wound is now being projected onto that gentleman or that woman. And those people, although they are innocent, will appear as you are. As you are. So you owe it to yourself, 1, to heal, 2, to remove these things, and 3, to get that splinter the hell out of your eyes so you can see people as they are. They deserve to be seen as they are. They deserve to be loved like God would love them. And you deserve to love yourself like God loves you. It's the most important part. It ends the mystery. I have yet to meet someone that I don't have something in common with. Do you guys realize that that is my confirmation that I live in heaven right now? People will say, oh my God, you're in my head. Damn Skippy I am. This is the reward, you guys. Being at peace here. It's what everybody's after. Everybody feels drawn to your genuine heart. They feel it. It can't be faked. You cannot fake your way into heaven, by the way. You have to genuinely connect to this sucker. And so for many of us, that's scary because we've swept a lot of things under the rug that we don't want to see. And so we're afraid to come back to our heart. Since our heart serves like this beacon, and it's like this light force that lights up the entire unconscious. It lights it up. And so there is a phase in which we will be uncomfortable. It's stated in the Gospel of Thomas. It's designed this way, in which we're like feeling really overwhelmed. I want you to know that's part of the process, but it is not the end of the world. It's the beginning of it. That destruction of all those nasty little patterns that have been hiding in your background. Maybe you are so innocent that you haven't realized that we've inherited some stuff that we came to clean up. So we got to look at them. But we got to look at them with a lot of faith. We got to look at them with God's eye. We got to look at them with the type of fearlessness that makes the devil, if there was an imaginary one, come to his knees and say, how can I serve you? We got to be willing to walk into that lion's den, you guys, and walk out with the lions walking behind us. Love is not a weak force. It is stronger than fear. A lot of us somehow have convinced ourselves that fear is stronger than love, and let me tell you, that's some bullshit. Fear is the exact opposite of it. Love is unrelenting. Love is the glue that holds us all together. It's the creative force that brings everything into your life. But it is a fearless union. Many of you want this, this perfected relationship. Start by loving yourselves. Start by facing yourselves. Start by caring enough to remove these wounds. You'd be amazed at how quickly the outside changes. I swear to you, I'm not making this up. It's our reward for our self-mastery. We got to be willing to look at ourselves. We got to be willing to put down that needy vibe. We got to be willing to enjoy our own company. To heal the relationships that we're looking to heal, we have to be willing to enjoy our own company. It's a necessity, a requirement. I want to say this because, sometimes I see these posts and I can feel the desperation and the sadness being emitted from someone who feels that if they don't have what's out there, they can't be happy. That's the problem. You want to give that burden to a shadow. Nobody wants it. Now, you can have a codependent disaster where two codependent people meet and crash and burn in a fiery mess. That's a lesson. Or you can take the time to really understand what I'm saying. You can take the time to stop wallowing in misery because he or she is not there. You realize that you're perpetuating the absence by doing that? It's no wonder it hasn't arrived yet. You can take the time to really enjoy your own company, discover who you are, be authentic in every way, have no problem expressing your boundaries, have no problem expressing your needs, knowing that they will be met because you meet them in yourself first. You walk your talk. A lot of the times, you guys, I walk away from things that don't work for me. I teach people some really hard lessons. Really hard lessons. They feel it years after I'm gone. But it's because I take no crap. Because I don't allow people to talk badly to me. I don't allow people to disrespect me. And mind you, I don't allow these things, and at the same time, I don't do them. Because if I were to be disrespectful and to I can mirror things. It's not a good thing. I know I gotta fix that sometimes in me. But I'm always gonna be on the receiving end of my actions. So if I'm gonna be on the receiving end of my actions, let me make sure that what I put out, what I say, how I behave is kindness, is respectful, is loving. And if for some reason I don't receive that back, I'm not afraid to let go. I don't have a problem with that. That's what my mama said. First comes you, then comes you, then comes you. Now, it sounds a little bit narcissistic, I know, but understand what she was trying to tell me is, first your cup overflows, then you're capable of loving someone where they're at, and then the overflow is more than enough for everyone else. In this way, there is no deficit. There is no sadness in a relationship. It's always balanced. Because that overflow catches up with the people then that are equal match to that energy. That reflection then comes back, and then you have this energy, this heart energy that comes like a what do I want to say? Like an infinity symbol. Your heart energy is pushing out, their heart energy is catching, and it comes back and forth in this like constant figure eight. In no way does it take from you. In no way does it take from them. It enhances both people's lives because the reflection is balanced. So I want to say this to you guys because I know many of you are on this journey. To have what you're looking for, you're really going to have to walk your talk. You're really going to have to step out there. If you don't like something, you're going to have to voice it. Be able to look at yourself and say, how is this occurring? Be at peace. Don't bypass 3D because you're supposed to look at it. But you're not supposed to let it dictate your inner mood. Your inner mood is supposed to dictate it. So make sure that you're always doing it backwards. John says that I'm backwards. I actually think I got it the right side up. I think he's backwards. That would be the reflection, right? In other words, make sure that your inner state is what's dictating out there. That is not what we've been trained to do. I don't care how old we are. If we're 20, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 years old or beyond that, doesn't matter. Many of us have been doing the exact opposite. As we passage through our imagination in time, we let out there determine how we feel in here. That's backwards. To understand Abraham Hicks and her vortex, everyone's like, I don't know how to ignore out there. What are you talking about? And they get lost. That's because they've never heard her when she said, your emotional health is the most important thing that you can ever do, because when you raise up in vibration, how you see out there changes. You have this filter, you have an emotional body. I know you can't see it because you see this physical body, but the emotional body is determining how you see. So if you have this vibration down here, and this could be fear, sadness, anger, worry, doubt, whatever, resentment, all of these lower scale vibrations, okay? Everything you see outside of you will be just like you are. So your parents will suck, your relationships will suck, the people you work with will suck. That's the vibration you're emitting, so that's what you're seeing out there. To take ownership of that, you must be willing to do that. Be like, oh, okay, my emotional health is more important than this, so let me really focus on me. It's not about ignoring out there. It's about making sure that what out there is showing you is what you are in here, because it's always going to show you that. So what are you going to do to fix what's out there? You fix what's in here. Our inner conversations are creating our outside reality. And if we don't realize that we've been saying the same, excuse my language, fucked up story over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, then we have not yet realized that we are responsible for the way the people that are behaving outside of us are appearing to us. It's ownership that sets you free. Ownership. I don't care what happened out there. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care who did what. "3D is an illusion. It's a holograph created for your convenience so you can understand yourselves and so you can evolve beyond the darkness that you may have inherited. The darkness is a gift. It is your greatest treasure. Most people are too afraid to look in that box. And yet it is your greatest treasure. It is how you develop your character. It is what you came to fix. It is what you came to do to serve the collective inside of you. It is a gift. I don't care how bad it is. I don't care how bad it was. But in order to really, really transcend beyond it, you must realize that you're bigger than it. You are bigger than your circumstances. You must become aware of your conscious stories. You must become aware of the things that we're expecting people to do and be. We must become responsible for what we see out there. That's the only way to be free. It's the only way. Or we can remain imprisoned in our mind, in a very glum outlook, praying and wishing we could just die or go home. Because our soul is tired of our shit. That's the only reason why we would ever be depressed in the first place. It's tired of listening to our complaining spirit. It's tired of listening to tell the same tired freaking story over and over and over again. It wants out. And then what happens is we start repelling the people around us. Or we take responsibility, we level up, we start telling new stories, and we prove the law to ourselves. In the beginning was the Word. What is that word that you're telling, you guys? And the Word was with God. Who are you, you guys? Understand the power of what you're putting out there. Understand it. Know it. Really sit down with it. I promise you, what changes is the world outside. Many of you want to get to this place where you're happy and you have harmonious relationships and your parents are loving and you have a totally different outlook on life. The relationships are good. That can only occur when you take responsibility. When you connect right here. You connect this light to this light right here. That's what you got to do. It's the most important part. Third eye must connect to the heart, and you must be willing to let your heart do all the clearing. You must be willing to allow your word to be dominant. You must be willing to stop listening to other stories that disempower you. And what you will find is you grow in power. You have the ability to do anything you want. You have peace. You stop desiring things. You literally stop desiring things. Why? Because everything comes to you anyway. Especially those loving relationships. And I want to make sure you guys understand that, because the most important thing I want to put out there is, in order for you guys to have these things that you want, you must be willing to drop the desire. If you know it was already given, then it's as simple as thanking God for it every morning. Knowing that it is here because you are an eternal being. God is within. Everything that you ever wanted is at your feet. You must command it with your voice. You must understand the power of your word. And by all means, understand that when you look out there at 3D, you must love that too. Because your thoughts are on display as people, places, and things. And if we have spent a long time condemning these things, then we got a little work to do, don't we? But to be free, that's what's needed. Face yourselves. Don't be afraid. What's in there is beautiful. What's in there transcends all time and space. What's in there opens you to a connection that is beyond this world. I'm trying to get you guys to heaven. That's my only goal. That's why I was born. My name means the bridge to heaven. The light bridge to heaven at that. So how can I get you there? I can get you there by being honest, by telling you how I got here. I got here by owning my shit, by cleaning up, by taking a long, hard look at myself, by being completely transparent with you guys so that when you come to me and you say, I'm healing from the loss of my child, I can look at you and say, so did I. I'm right there with you. I understand. I can say, I'm healing from my mother. Aha! I can say, ah, I did that with you, right there with you. When you say, I'm healing because my dad wasn't around. Okay, right there with you. When you say, someone molested me as a child and I'm kind of screwed up about it, I can say, yeah, I'm right there with you. When you say, I was an unconscious parent and I'm trying desperately to fix that, I can say, hey, right there with you. I'm completely comfortable with who I am and what brought me here. That's why I'm standing here before you guys saying, and yet when I did it, when I really looked within and I accepted everything, and when I forgave myself, and when I took rid of the guilt, and when I really, really, truly just stepped into all of that mess and still found love at the core, I understood the mystery that brings us here, that brings us to heaven. And when you're here, whatever you want, you can have. You stop wanting it. It's already given. So you just connect with your heart and you let God do it. Divine intelligence takes care of it. Many of you would be shocked if I said, you know, I put my relationship in God's hands. God handles it. Well, I don't have to think about it. Many of you would be shocked when I said, you know, I'm gonna put everything in God's hands when it comes to money. Many of you would be shocked when I said, I'm going to put my friendships, I'm going to put my daughter, I'm going to put my mother, I'm going to put my father, all of it. I'm going to take the pressure off of myself and I'm going to leave it up to divine intelligence to show me the way. But why do you think I'm so peaceful? No matter what I see out there, I know it is handled. I want you guys to get to know that force within you. Truly. Because on the other side of that is the life you've dreamed of. With whoever. There are things that you haven't even fathomed are possible for you that are just waiting for you to receive them. I mean this sincerely. No fear. Full self-acceptance. Fully loving. No need for someone to make you happy. Guess what? They want to make you happy. It's kind of cool. And then you want to make them happy? And then you bounce off that energy? It's beautiful. Gotta be willing to find yourself first. I mean this sincerely. Accept it. Forgive. Everything that you've ever done to anyone, ever, you did to yourself. The reflection of yourself. So the karma was instant. Boom, boom. Now, you may feel as if you have been paying for things that you don't remember. You know, like, how did I end up here? This is not what I deserve. Well, how do you know that you didn't do this to other people? You're on the receiving end always. Time is cyclical. It is always going in these circles in order for you to transcend them. And then when you transcend them, you're able to move on to a new circle. That's our end goal here, guys. Don't bypass. Don't be afraid. And please, by all means, do not put that burden on the shadow that doesn't want it. Just don't do it. Do not think that because someone is there or not there that you cannot be happy. That is incorrect. That's why Abraham Hicks always says it. Be happy first, and then you'd be amazed at all the things that come to you. Make peace with that, you guys. And stop the desperation. Stop the sadness. Stop the insanity of wanting a shadow when the real thing is right here. The reflection will be as you are. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. The Word of God has always been your owner's manual to the universe that you are. So if everything is made in your image and you don't like what you're seeing out there, then get to work on your inner stories. Get to work on that self-acceptance. I'm going to be real honest. For those of us that have children, the saddest most painful experience you will ever have in your entire life, and I mean this sincerely, is to watch your children walk in your footsteps because you didn't clean up your mess. That hurts more than you can ever fathom. It is painful beyond pain, beyond pain. Why? Because your child fractured its soul to improve upon you. So you owe it to them to meet them halfway and improve yourself. Demonstrate what we're doing here. Don't just repeat the words. Don't just do it half-ass. Mean it. Because the entire world that you are is depending on you to do it. This awakening that we're having is a beautiful thing. Shine your light, your genuine light. Be that gift. I love you guys. Sincerely.